And first on the agenda is from Oguzhan. Take it away, sir.
Hi. So yeah, this one, I think Kunal opened this up to discussion a couple of months ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't there. So as a part of that discussion, this tracker was opened as an enhancement item. The other day, we were discussing with Joe, and as you see in the tracker, he changed some metadata around this tracker, making it a bug. Like other metadata for this tracker would be a regression. And we were debating whether it could be yes or no. The reason is, let's say I have as a client, I have a workflow which I may need to suspend certain users. Now, once those users are migrated to account, I don't have that functionality feature anymore. So in terms like, it's not a functional bug, obviously, but it's like functional regression, but it's a feature regression. So first question would be, like the update we did on this tracker, does it make sense to you all? And whether can we classify this as a regression, or are we adding this tag for feature regressions as well? That would be the first part of the discussion, I guess.
I guess I'm not sure what regression would mean in this context. If it just means that we would backport it to all the releases that would qualify, I think we were already planning to do that.
Here it's kind of a like interesting case. Here, like account feature wasn't available before Squid, so a regression discussion may be out of scope. But if you think of it, the user suspend was available. That tool was available prior to Squid, and now in Squid, user suspend is still available. But when I move to user to an account, I don't have any account suspend tool. That's why it's we were debating whether it would be regarded as a regression, but it's a, I mean, yeah, that's pretty much where or confusion stem from. But I mean, either way, if you wanna like, we can go back to second part. Like if you wanna fix this, because I missed the discussion a few months ago when Kernel opened this up. Like in terms of complexity and the work needed, like Casey, perhaps you can give an idea how complex would it be. It would be easy to add the account suspend as well.
My understanding is that there's just a flag on the user info suspended. I'm not sure where all of that's checked in the request path, but I imagine you would just want to add something similar to the account and check it in the same places.
The one thing I don't have a full understanding of like IAM users in AWS. So if you have temporary keys floating around, I believe they are associated with a particular account, right? So if there is temporary keys, if we suspend an account, will we be able to suspend those like temporary keys as well, like SDS keys as well? Or will it require a special treatment other than this flag that you mentioned?
I am confused about STS keys. Do you mean like access keys?
Access keys, like temporary keys.
Yeah.
Let's say some other tenancies like assumed role and get a temporary key for a particular account, and then we suspended that account. So how are we gonna, like, by having that flag at the account level, we will stop the request flowing through those temporary keys as well, right? SDS keys.
Yeah. During authentication, we do know the account ID of the role that's being assumed.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we could check the flag still.
Sounds good. Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, just talking about adopting existing suspended users into an account, I would expect the suspended flag to still apply there. But yeah, temporary keys from assume role might work differently.
Yeah. Sounds good. There's no other questions. Maybe we can move on to next one.
Did you get enough info to answer the question about scope and
Yes, yeah, I will take a look at that flag and see, and also for the temporary keys as well. Let me first get an idea on that one, and then maybe we can have a follow-up discussion, perhaps on Slack or next week again here.
okay.
And for the regression part, like, I mean, it's just a technicality, I think. So, yeah, at this point, since it's not a functional regression, perhaps we can leave it as is, as a regression, no?
Yeah, I don't think I would call it a regression unless the suspended flag on user info stopped working. It's just a missing piece of
Yes.
the
Yeah,
new account functionality.
yeah, that
But
makes sense.
but we should fix it and backport it regardless. All right, shall we move on?
Yes, the next topic is on me again. So starting script, like the tracing feature becomes really versatile and useful. Like in Bloomberg, we are like playing around with it to see whether we can enable it in our production systems. I think Yuval is not here today. Like his talk with Deepika was really a nice one. Uh, Actually, this item is like pertaining to the discussion we had like a couple of months ago, like when Joe raised how are we going to track in roadmaps. Here I like it was a great presentation, and at the end of the presentation there was a roadmap laid out. For example, adding sampling to avoid tracing's impact on performance, like how to support multi-site case using some like Kafka queue, low hardening, and how we can do conditional scripting for users at bucket level, etc. However, I couldn't find any tracker. Like at that discussion a couple of months ago, we said like tracker would be a nice place to lay out the roadmap and to see who's working on what part of a feature, etc. Even whether somebody is working on it. So in that sense, I was gonna, maybe Yuval is not here. He would be the best person to answer this. But this could be a nice use case, I believe, to start that how to lay out a roadmap given a feature kind of thing. So that's why I like bring it up as an example pertaining to that discussion we had. Another point is whether tracker would, like similar to Jira, right? For example, in Jira, you would open an epic and then tasks underneath. Like here, whether like tracker would support that idea as well. Like we have the tracing feature, and here are the roadmaps. Like there's like multiple tasks. Like adding sampling is one of them. Like feature addition, supporting multi-site is another feature addition. Whether we can have that layout using tracker. Perhaps I can work with you all, like to see whether we can make it happen. But yeah,
Yeah, you can. So Redmine tracker issues do have a subtasks section where you can add links to kind of child tasks and track as a parent. So I think that would be a good way to to manage it, especially if it needs coordination with other teams like the OSD piece. I thought that there was already a tracker issue for the multi-site sync traces, but a search doesn't find one.
Yeah, I also had a very crude search. Like I didn't search though roughly, but I couldn't find anything pertaining to tracing, like this features. I mean, but yeah. Again, perhaps this is something we can like discuss on Slack as well, and maybe like have this as an example how to lay out a roadmap. Maybe for the upcoming features, this could set an example.
Yeah, I think we did something similar with the multi-site resharding work for Reef, having a parent tracker with a bunch of the tasks broken out.
Yeah, sounds good. Let me take a look at it as well.
Yeah, I think this is a great idea in general. Haven't heard a lot of discussion around tracing outside of the RGW team, I guess. So building some structure and getting visibility might be a good way to get more people involved.
Agreed. Yeah, sounds good.
Sorry, do we already have people signed up to implement those roadmap items, or are those just kind of proposals, some combination?
So that's the thing we don't know. Like those were the proposals made in Cephlacon, like in Yuval's and Deepika's talk.
Oh, you've all proposed those? Okay.
Yeah, as a future work of the tracing.
Okay,
But we don't know whether it's being worked on or anybody is working on. So just to increase visibility of those future steps. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the answer is that Yuval isn't personally working on a group of those changes right now. But I think I trust that some of those proposals were vetted by him and other people working on tracing. So yeah, it'd be interesting to get people. Are there other ones that you guys are interested in looking at implementing?
I mean, for example, sampling would be a nice thing, like whether it's going to be added, whether somebody's working on it.
I don't think anyone's working on it that we know of, but I understand it's like a feature that that's sort of wired into Jaeger so that it might be fairly tractable to attempt it.
Yes, yeah, maybe it will be easy to add as well. Yeah, but again, like to increase the visibility, they were specified like a couple of months ago in the Cephlacon as a future work. But it is again, it's all about observability, visibility of those like future work, given a like feature in this case, Ceph tracing. So we were discussing about this, like how we can keep track of roadmap given a feature and what features are being worked on. I saw this as an opportunity to realize or materialize that discussion. But yeah, there's some good samples as well, like multi-site resharding. Maybe we can take it as a template and make this work more visible and see who's working on what and when this items would be available for consumption for the community. Yeah.
On the multi-site tracing, I did find a couple pull requests that started threading trace info through the bucket index log, but I don't think any of that ever emerged.
Who was working on that at the time?
Omri, working with Yuval.
Oh, one of a student. Okay, yeah, we had to find another experimenter to continue that, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much it on my end for this topic. Yeah.
All right, thanks. Next up on the agenda is from Marcel, right? About the KMS cache PR.
Yes, likewise. So the question comes partly from the people sponsoring my work on this. We've seen that there's a tentacle branch now, and I'm curious, is there like a chance for this to get into tentacle? Is the feature freeze already over? How does it work for RGW? And I don't know, what do you expect from this PR? It's not done yet, to be honest. Could you strongly
So tentacle at least is under feature freeze. We don't really want to add new features at the moment. Like basically, we cut the branch right as we do. We cut the branch when we do the freeze, essentially, so that everything after that gets backports. But for things that are like reasonably considered bug fixes, we can backport them.
We could backport a feature too, and carry it with care and maybe an point release. But you got to get it. We got to get this one done first and get it merged to upstream, to Ceph main.
Yeah, I think that this is impactful enough that we would want to backport it as far as we possibly could. So yes, definitely for tentacle, but it's just about when it's ready. If it isn't ready for the release, then probably the first point release. But you raise a really good question about the acceptance criteria, and I'd like to hear what other people think about this. Is Marcus here?
Marcus is here.
Sorry, what was that?
The general question is just what should be the acceptance criteria of this pull request to add KMS caching? What kind of test coverage can we get? Maybe some scale testing, testing around. Does it need testing around key rotation or anything? Do we support that?
Not really. No. Yeah. Other than the obvious it works, I don't think I have any bright ideas there.
I mean, so do you then support? Do you then approve of the current state of the PR, Marcus?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at my comments on it.
Well, I think that's job. I think that's one of the job one points. Can you make a point of doing that? Spending 15 minutes maybe a day. All right.
So yeah, it's like for the PR, are topology tests in scope, or is this something extra? A question.
Well, we do have topology test coverage of Vault and Barbican. So we could certainly turn the cache on and validate with the cache enabled. But is there additional testing that we would want to add to get more coverage of corner cases, I guess? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I don't know, can topology do kind of scale testing, or is that something that people usually do like on the side and add a comment to the PR that they did scale testing? How does it usually work? Is that automated?
Not really, no. Topology isn't a great place to do scale and performance stuff, although we can reserve some lab nodes to set up a cluster and do targeted testing. I know Mark Kogan and Shilpa have done a lot of that with multi-site, so maybe we could coordinate on setting up an environment to hammer this once it's ready.
Sounds good. It's also the customer that we have that's very interested in this is willing to run some tests on their test setup. They already did for previous versions, not for the async call once version, but one before.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's great. Any details that you can share about, results from that? The PR would be a good place for that. I know that you've already shared a lot of benchmarking stuff there, right?
Yeah, it's mostly micro benchmarks to convince me that most of the decision makes sense. But yeah, scale testing will follow soonish. It's like the micro benchmark shows that the async call once could be a bit faster, and it also caches errors, which is really great. This was actually commonly found from running it on a test cluster, that error caching is kind of important as well, not only positive caching. Yeah. Thanks for the async call ones. It's a really nice abstraction.
I'm glad it's working. Okay, well, I would probably say that scale testing doesn't need to block initial merge, but maybe we would want to do that before considering backports. Does that sound reasonable to folks here?
Could you repeat, please, the proposal?
I would probably consider merging that to main just based on regression testing through Toothology with caching enabled. But before backporting to Tentacle or other releases, we might want to make sure that we get some scale testing.
Okay, I mean, I would definitely agree with the former. If the cache works, we don't see evidence that it's making things worse, then it's probably an improvement.
Sounds good.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Yep, I will try to get another round of review in this week. Tangentially related, there's been a desire to have kind of default encryption in some form in RGW. And I was concerned that the performance without caching would be problematic for that. But once we have the cache, I think we should revisit that idea, find a good design for it. I think it was seen as PR originally.
What does default encryption mean? Who owns the keys in that case? Is that like the KMS SSE thing default on, or?
Yes, I think it was the SSE S3 flavor.
Isn't that essentially what SSE S3 does, but possibly has the same issue with caching?
Yeah, SSCS3 is going to have a single key per bucket. Let me think about that. No, it's going to have a bucket per object, or it's going to have a key per object, I think. I don't think we're really ready to enable default encryption.
Are we not still there? Are we still missing the per bucket?
Yeah, we need the per bucket key stuff.
That would be nice to merge after one of these years.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, users have to opt into SSES3 with put bucket encryption per bucket, is my understanding. So the request would be that it would be enabled on buckets on creation. But if
the problem is it's definitely going to be a performance hit at this point.
Okay.
Well, with the cache, though, the caching of the per bucket key, that would seem to be helpful.
Is it still hitting the KMS per object?
Well, it wouldn't be in the model that Casey proposes, I think.
I think Marcus is right that there's like a key encryption key per object, and I assume that would mean we would have to hit vault every object request.
Yeah, that's my belief.
So is there a design proposal to move away from that, or is that just baked in?
There was a proposal. I understood there to be an opportunity to design one. Can you review, Marcus, what that was?
Yeah, we need to do some kind. Basically need to store more key infrastructure inside of Ceph. That's what that per bucket key stuff would be.
Let's better define what that is and try to prioritize working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can get me some more details, I can create a tracker issue just so that we have a place
Okay.
for it.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
All right, thanks, Marcel. Any other thoughts on this?
No, thanks.
All right, any final topics for the meeting then? Okay, thanks everybody. See you next time.
Thank you.